Hello and welcome again, Charles Kelly, Money Tips. Good to see you all on Facebook Live and on my podcast on iTunes and Stitcher. Great to see you. Thanks for tuning in and for your comments and that sort of thing. It's always nice to get a few comments back. Hope to meet you all sometime at an event or whatever. Some of you I have already met, and I've waved to you there. It's always good to have an audience out there, and with Facebook Live you can actually see people coming on and waving to you, whereas with a podcast you don't know who's listening to it really. I always remember at school I enjoyed doing things creative, like writing stories and performing and drama and that sort of thing. And one of the teachers at my primary school had this really good idea of recording a radio show. Now, it wasn't literally being broadcast out, but he would record it on a reel-to-reel tape, and he wouldn't just have music on it. He would have like little documentary sections, and I was picked out as the guy that would do the DJ bit and introduce records. In fact, in those days, I wanted to be Tony Blackburn. Believe it or not, I can admit it now, years later. But and funny enough, that's what a podcast is. It's actually recording a kind of a radio show. Another teacher got us involved with filming documentaries outside the school, which is always good fun as well. And it's funny how that's come around now. Although I didn't get into that business, this is what I'm kind of doing now. I'm writing blogs, I'm recording podcasts and filming videos for Facebook Live. So anyway, back to the money news, because that's what Money Tips is supposed to do, bring you money tips to help you save, earn, invest, accumulate and enjoy more money. Now, I've read today that a mini bond marketing has been banned by the FCA, the Financial Conduct Authority. It's the marketing of high risk investments known as mini bonds to regular savers, because it's a high risk. It shouldn't just be marketed as an ordinary savings product. And this is where armchair investors have been tempted by higher returns of these speculative bonds, which were often much greater than the mainstream kind of ISAs. Because when you go into an ISA, you don't expect that your money is at risk unless it's a stocks and shares ISA. But they've been at the heart of scandals, and there was a collapse of one company called London Capital and Finance, LCF, where 12,000 savers lost their money. So the financial conduct has now come after, this goes back to January, by the way. So here comes the Financial Conduct Authority on their horse, coming down the road nearly a year later, long after the horse has bolted out of that stable door. Here they come to try and do something, and they said they're going to ban it for 12 months. Then they're going to consider more rules. So I don't know what these guys do at the FCA, but obviously they're not looking after savers correctly. Now, mini bond is described by as a bond is a kind of an IOU, if you like. It's a kind of thing where you give money to a company and they'll give you an interest rate and your money back at some stage in the future. It could be an open-ended, it could be usually a fixed term. The government do the same thing. In fact, Jeremy Corbyn the other day was asked how he would finance various plans in his manifesto, and he just said, we're not going to borrow money, we're just going to issue bonds. Well, in a way, Jeremy, when you issue a bond, it's like borrowing money. It's a different way of borrowing money. Now, you and I have to go to a bank and ask for a loan, but an organisation such as a local authority, a government, a country, or a company can issue what's called a bond, which is a loan note, really, to say that if you give me your money, I will pay you an agreed rate of interest over a period of time and then give you your money back. Well, in some cases, with these type of bonds, people have not been getting their money back. So the return depends on the success and the proper running of a business, because if a business doesn't run its affairs properly, you won't get your money back. Now, I'm not talking about the building society bonds that you get, where the building society will give you a 1-year bond. That is more or less guaranteed, because you don't expect a building society to go out of business, and there are government guarantees there. But these are bonds, a bit like corporate bonds, where companies issue bonds to raise finance. So you might have, I don't know, just for an example, Apple might say, we're issuing a £1 billion corporate bond to raise money, and that means that they can raise money without giving up any equity in the company. So they don't have to give up shares. It's just like a loan. So in this case, these mini bonds were issued as ISAs even, and I've seen similar things with peer-to-peer lending, issuing these as ISAs, I mean, where you're giving money to them and they're lending it out directly to investors. Now, these are not as safe as a normal ISA, so just be careful on that. And I think they should be only marketed to sophisticated investors who could declare themselves able to understand the risks, or high net individuals with an annual income of more than £100,000 or assets of more than £250,000. So they're not banning them outright, but they're saying they shouldn't be sold as normal ISAs. So you see an ISA in the high street, it says we'll pay you 1 or 2%. Then you see this advert that says we'll pay you 6%. You think, well, I'll go for that. And it's not the same thing. You're comparing apples with pears. So just watch out for that. And I'm talking about ISAs. I've mentioned this a couple of times. You have only a couple of days left to buy or to invest in a Help to Buy ISA, Help to Buy ISA. Help to Buy ISA, I've covered it in previous episodes, is a type of ISA where it's available to first-time buyers over the age of 16, and that money can be used to buy a house or a property in the future, and the government will give you a 25% tax-free bonus, just like a gift really, on top of your maximum saving of £12,000. Now that's going to be phased out or stopped on 30th of November, which is Saturday. It's now Thursday. You only have a couple of days left. Don't leave it till Saturday morning. Get down the bank and it's shut. Oh, the branch closed. You can get money out of a hole in the wall, but the branch is closed due to cutbacks. Or you get there and there's a big queue and they say, sorry, we can't see any people anymore. You'll have to make an appointment with an advisor. No, I don't want an advisor. I just want to open an account. Well, they might be too busy. So make sure you do it either online or do it tomorrow or today, so that you don't miss out, because you'll be missing out on 25% tax-free bonus in your hand for doing nothing more than just having an account and buying a property. There's more to it than that, but my advice is just to go and open one. You don't need a lot of money. You can open one for a fairly small amount of money. So just go and do it. If you're a first-time buyer, if you're over age of 16, and you intend to use that money to buy a property, they're not going to give you the bonus unless you're buying a property up to £250,000 or £450,000 in London. So just a reminder there to go and do that. So other bit of news is that, now you've heard the expression a license to print money, right? Well, this is where a business is so good that they call it a license to print money. Like you could almost print your own money because it's that good. Well, a company called Delarue is a company that prints UK banknotes. Said that there's a risk the firm will collapse if a turnaround fails to work. And they're a UK-based company, and they print cash for around 140 central banks and employ 2,500 people globally. But all the current banknotes are actually printed in Bank of England banknotes, are printed at a site in Debden, just off the M11. And that's well known there in that Essex area. And I used to live near there. Now I'm not quite sure why they're in problems, but I know that the government has been asking foreign companies to print passports, like a French company to print UK passports, which seems strange. Now they did lose a load of money when it had to write off 18 million after Venezuela's central bank failed to pay its bills. Surprise, surprise. Why would you do business with Venezuela anyway? But it's ironic, really, that a company that literally has a license to print money is in trouble and could go out of business. Well, I thought it was a funny joke anyway, but maybe you don't think it's that funny. But anyway, so that's a bit about Delarue. And I was going to say something else here. Yeah, property prices. There was a report out today that they say they're growing at less than 1% at the moment. So it's a real slowdown, partly because of Brexit, election, time of year perhaps, I don't know. And net migration figures came out today as well, saying that net migration had gone down, and in particular it had gone down from the EU. I think it was the net migration from the EU, that is the number of people who's come in and gone out, was around 40,000 from the EU. Now, of course, we were told all the people from the EU were going home, but it's not really the case, is it? Because people are still coming into the country. Why? Because there are jobs here, that's why. because people can't get work in other European countries. You certainly can't get work in former Eastern Bloc countries of the Soviet Union because their economy is like, and even in places like Spain, where youth unemployment was nearing 40% a year ago. France, they're not going to give you jobs in France unless you're French. Well, I wouldn't quite say that, but it's not as open in other countries as it is here. So this is why people are still coming into the UK. Don't believe this story that all the Polish people are going home. I know lots of Polish people. I know loads of Romanian, Polish builders, Eastern European builders. They're not going anywhere. They're staying here because there's work here. They've got kids here. They're building a life here. They bought properties here. They're doing well here. Why would they go back to a country when they're settled here and have kids at school? So there you go. That's all for now. Thanks for listening. This is Charles Kelly bringing you money tips to help you save, earn, invest, accumulate and enjoy more money. If you'd like to find out how you can become a property investor, many of you might be interested in that because that's a good way of investing money, then let me know, because I can get you onto some free taster courses where you can learn a lot in a day, or sometimes even 2 days free taster course, and you can get an overview of that. I don't run the courses myself, some friends of mine run it. Just drop me a line at on Facebook Live or at charles@charleskelly.net. Thanks very much. Just to recap on that, I've mentioned these property courses before because a lot of people think, well, property looks easy, I'll go out and buy a property. But of course, it's not that easy. There's more to it. Like any business, there's more to it than meets the eye. And a lot of people think you need big money to invest in property. That's not true. You can get into property with none of your own money by using creative strategies that can get you into property without using your own money, and sometimes not using any money at all. You can get into the property business using none of your own money. So if you're interested in that and you'd like to get into it, then do drop me a line on Facebook from the link you see here, or charles@charleskelly.net. I've been using these strategies myself, and they do work. It's not some trick or sleight of hand. These are known techniques that have been around for a long time, such as options, for instance, have been around for a long time, for years, maybe even centuries, and they've been used. So there's nothing mysterious about these, except people don't realise that you can use them in a property transaction. It's just a question of having a bit of lateral thinking and thinking, instead of having blinkers on, think, well, options are only for having an option on a piece of land that you build. And no, you can have options for all sorts of things. You can have options on shares, you can have call options, put options, but you can use these in property transactions as well to acquire and control property using none of your own money. So obviously what I'm talking about here is a UK based course. It doesn't apply in other countries unless you can get here to the UK and you want to invest in the UK. But anyway, so thanks for listening. Thanks for everyone on Facebook there. Hi to Jing, Melanie, Ray, everybody there that tuned in on Facebook Live. Great to see you, and I will see you again. Don't forget that Help to Buy ISA. If you're a first time buyer over the age of 16 and you want to buy a property in the future, go and open a Help to Buy ISA, any bank or building society in the high street, and get your hands on that before it's phased out. They are replacing it with another type of ISA, but I think this is probably better, and you'll get this 25% tax-free bonus on savings of up to £12,000, and that's each. If there's two of you buying, that's each per person. So if you were buying a property in the next couple of years and you're saving for it, why not save in a Help to Buy ISA rather than a normal account? Because the Help to Buy ISA gives you that extra bonus, and it's all tax-free. You won't get that in a normal account. So if two of you were saving to buy a property and you both opened a Help to Buy ISA, you would have £3,000 each. So how much would you have in a tax-free bonus in total, right, when you buy that property? What is it? 3,000 each times 2, £6,000 you could have given to you by the government. Yes, the government give money away if you're buying a property and you're a genuine first-time buyer in the UK and you've saved in a Help to Buy ISA and it's a qualifying Help to Buy ISA. So just remember that. This is where literally the government are giving money away to help first-time buyers get onto the property ladder. Who says the government doesn't do anything for you? They've had this product around for a long time. Most people have not taken advantage of it. So go for it. Just open that account. You don't need £12,000 to do it. You can save up to a maximum of £12,000, but you can start off with £100, a couple of £100. Just go and open the account. If you don't use it for a property purchase in the future, you get your money back anyway. So it's not going to be locked up or anything. So that's my main tip today, is to go and get that Help to Buy ISA, because it closes on Saturday, 30th of November. This is your last chance to go and get that Help to Buy ISA. Thanks for listening, and bye for now.